testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Detective John, John, Guillot, Guillot.
You testified earlier that you're a detective with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Were you working in that capacity on April 4th, 2024?
Correct, yes.
What were your duties that day?
That specific day did a bunch of follow-up. On that day, I was assigned, along with Joseph Blanchard, to go conduct follow-up initially at the pizza shuttle. From there, while we're en route to the pizza shuttle, which again, Miss Robinson was employed there, we drove past Victor's, which is a bar on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. It's kind of like a bar / nightclub. As we're driving by Victor's, I noticed that there was a black Hyundai Sonata parked in the parking lots. Of note, I knew two things. I knew that law enforcement obtained information that Mr. Anderson was a bartender at Victor's, and I also knew that Mr. Anderson was a registered owner of a black Hyundai Sonata.
Just to ask, a Sonata is a sedan, correct?
I believe it's an SUV.
Okay, is a Santa Fe an
Sorry,
SUV?
pardon me, yes, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so at that time you were doing follow-up specific to this case, specific to Sade Robinson, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you went into April 4th knowing that Maxwell Anderson drove a Hyundai Santa Fe, correct?
Correct, yes.
You were also aware that he worked at Victor's.
Correct, yes.
Do you know the address of Victor's?
Yes, it's, I believe, 1230 North Van Buren Street. Again, that's located on the east side of Milwaukee.
And through this investigation that you were part of, were you aware that Maxwell Anderson was the last person to have contact with Sade Robinson before her death?
That is correct, yes.
Describe what you did as you saw that vehicle, that Santa Fe.
So as we saw the black Santa Fe, we kind of circled around the block. We drove past the Santa Fe for a second time, and I noticed that the Santa Fe had a Wisconsin license plate of AMR 8083 affixed to the back of the vehicle. I knew, based upon our investigation, that specific vehicle was the registered vehicle of Mr. Anderson. So I was able to confirm that vehicle was Mr. Anderson's.
Approximately what time did you see the vehicle?
It's approximately 12:30 to 12:45 p.m.
And at this point, how are you traveling?
We are at this point in an unmarked squad car. We are going northbound on, I believe, Van Buren. Once we see the vehicle and once we confirm the vehicle, I also noticed that the vehicle is unoccupied. We essentially set up surveillance across the streets on Mr. Anderson's vehicle.
What did you see?
Myself, like I said, we were on surveillance for approximately 10, 15 minutes. At first, we didn't see any movements. After about 15 minutes elapsed, we saw, or I should say, I saw Mr. Anderson walking eastbound on East Juneau Avenue towards his vehicle. Mr. Anderson was wearing a black colored jacket. He had some kind of knit cap on, and he was carrying a backpack.
When you're referring to Mr. Anderson, are you referring to somebody in the courtroom today?
I am, yes.
Can you describe where that person's sitting and what they're wearing?
I'll stipulate.
The record will so reflect.
Thank you. Upon seeing Mr. Anderson, what did he do?
Like I said, Mr. Anderson, he crossed over the intersection of East Juneau Avenue and Van Buren. He walked to his vehicle, entered into his vehicle, and he sat in his vehicle for approximately 10 to 15 minutes.
Did you indicate whether or not he was carrying anything?
Yes, he was carrying a backpack over his shoulders.
Okay, can you describe what that backpack looked like?
I believe it was a standard black and color backpack.
Are you aware of surveillance footage that the Milwaukee Police Department obtained through this investigation?
Yes.
Are you aware of a camouflage color backpack that was depicted on certain surveillance footage?
Yes.
Okay. Was this that backpack?
I don't believe so, no.
After the defendant gets into his car, what do you do?
Like I stated before, he sat in the vehicle for approximately 10 minutes, and then eventually he reversed his vehicle. The defendant, Mr. Anderson, again, was the lone occupant, driver of the vehicle. He started heading in a southern direction through the east side of Milwaukee / downtown area. At that point, Detective Blanchard and I continued to follow Mr. Anderson in our unmarked squad car. Once we got to the area of West Clybourn Street, Mr. Anderson entered the I-94 and began traveling westbound on I-94. As he's continuing to travel westbound on I-94, several other detectives assist. They're also driving unmarked squad cars. We continue to follow Mr. Anderson to the 27th Street off-ramp, at which point he takes the off-ramp and begin driving southbound on 27th Street from I-94.
Where does South 27th Street go at that point?
We continue following Mr. Anderson all the way down to, I believe, Holt Avenue. Mr. Anderson started driving westbound on Holt Avenue to which point he gets to Lakefield Drive, and he's continuing to drive westbound on Lakefield Drive, at which point I know that Mr. Anderson's registered address is essentially just around the corner. So at that particular time, I also should note that I knew our detectives had secured a signed search warrant for Mr. Anderson's residence. So I believed also that Mr. Anderson was heading home at that time.
You are aware his residence was at what address?
I believe it is 3161 South 39th Street.
And you were aware that other members of the Sheriff's Department were presently at that residence or going to be very shortly at that residence to execute a search warrant?
That is correct. That was also a part of my thinking during my arrest operation. We had other sheriff's detectives at the residence. We had detectives following Mr. Anderson. And my whole goal at that point was not to let Mr. Anderson get back to his residence.
Did you effectuate a traffic stop?
I did, yes.
You personally did in your squad car?
It was in Detective Blanchard's unmarked squad car. We activated our unmarked squad car's emergency lights and in the area of North 38th Street and West Lakefield Drive.
How far away from the residence of 3161 South 39th Street is that?
I would estimate a block and a half.
What happened?
Mr. Anderson stopped. We, as in me and Detective Blanchard, exited our unmarked squad car. We approached on the driver's side while Deputy Ethan Stout approached on the passenger side. We made contact with Mr. Anderson. I asked Mr. Anderson to shut off his vehicle, to which he complied. I then asked Mr. Anderson to step out of the vehicle, to which again he complied. I immediately grabbed onto Mr. Anderson and I took him into custody by placing him in the handcuffs.
I think that's a perfect place to stop. Okay, it's 11:57, so there is the Chief Judge directive that I be off the record at noon, so I need to stop at this point. Remember the admonitions: no talking amongst yourselves, no research, no investigation, no posting of anything. Wear your badges real visible so everybody in the hallway can see you, please. I have one matter to do at 1:30, unless we spun it. Okay, we're going to say 1:45. I'd like to go on the record at 1:45. That one matter shouldn't take very long. So we'll kick right back up at 1:45 and jump right back in this. Please leave your notebooks on your chair and have a lovely lunch.